Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. Which is actually Life Between Lives, the series. And Regan Forston is... You broke something. And Natasha Venter are here, and we just got on. Natasha works hard all day, and Regan works hard all day, and so we have no earthly idea where we're going with this. So where are we going with this, kids?
Well, I like, Natasha, what you're talking talking about fear.
Yeah, because there's this new, walking into what we're going to be walking through. And I know a lot of people have sat in fear through a lot of this COVID, and that it's just one of those things that, we kind of have these things that come to us that's an individual. We also have things that come from us from past lives that are fears. And we also have things that just come from us from who we live with that aren't necessarily our fears, that we kind of listen to all our lives. And then we kind of go, oh, I kind of like that fear. I'm going to stick with it, as a metaphorical, non-thinking idea. And so it's just one of those things that as we walk in life, it's, how do we manage being in fear? And I know for me that there's times where fear has hit me, but then at the same time, I always kind of use the language, who's controlling who? And when I do that, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, oh, I don't necessarily really fear this, but it's an idea that I have to fear this. And then there's the logical fear of falling off a branch or falling off a cliff. I have vertigo, so I don't stand next to cliffs because there's a part of me that wants to jump off and there's a part of me that wants to stay healthy. But yet at the same time, like me and my vertigo, sometimes I let that part of me that I hold on to something so I don't. And then I let that part of me that says jump off, just because sometimes you just got to let that part of you fly that wants to fly. But yet I know I'm safe, it's just kind of one of those things. So it's just an idea out there.
Have you ever had one of those dreams? I had one last night, as a matter of fact, now that you mention it. I was dreaming that I was getting ready for a wedding ceremony, and I apparently wasn't wearing my pants and had to put on my pants, and I was on a girder outside of a building on the 82nd floor trying to put my pants on the girder outside, and it took me a minute to figure out that wasn't a very bright idea. So somebody needs to tell me what in the hell that was all about. But maybe it was what I had for dinner. I don't know.
No, usually not.
No.
Usually is symbolic of something. Well, that's another thing too. Maybe we'll be talking about fears and dreams or something, because a lot of times our fears show up in our dreams. That things that we are afraid of, we'll think about it so much, we'll manifest that issue to actually happen to us in the dream state or something. And luckily, as they're watching out for us, it's a little easier sometimes in different levels of existence to, like, in other words, if someone's got this fear of getting an automobile accident and in a dream state they have an automobile accident, it's a little easier to get through on some other planes than it is here. Here we're just physical pain and suffering, and I know I've had people before that asked their guide on the other side, or like in a dream state, like, about going through a big accident, and they said, well, you put so much attention on it, you kind of made it happen, and we just were protecting a little bit, letting you go through it in a little easier way. But told them, just be sure to watch what you wish for and what you put your attention on, because we have this power of creating what we think. So, and that's what fears do, right, Natasha? I mean, gosh, I think if like now, anybody listening to this, get a little pad of paper, and maybe even after the show tonight, have get relaxed or something, put on some nice music, and then start writing down different things you're afraid of, and it's going to surprise the heck out of you how many fears that the average person has. I mean, simple things like, oh gosh, what if I lose my job? Oh, what if I can't pay the rent? What if my wife leaves me, or my husband leaves me? What if my kid becomes drug addicted? What am I going to do? What if I get in an automobile accident? My insurance isn't really good enough. Or what if I, what if, because I'm drinking a little bit, what if I run into someone and kill somebody? And I mean, I'm just thinking those off the top of my head of things that people think about. But we, as human beings, it's like this fear thing is kind of comes along with the incarnation. But that's what we're here to overcome, because people find out as they overcome their fears, they get this freedom that is awesome and wonderful. And then life can really, really happen. The old famous saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
I'm lucky because I live in the Northwest and we don't have my biggest fear, which would be that there's a snake in your toilet.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wrote that book on fears and phobias called Phobias Gone in 1 Hour. And in there doing this research, and there in the book, I have about 500 fears and phobias that people have. And you read them, some of them you laugh your butt off, because it's like, what? Someone's afraid of that? Someone has a fear of that, because if it's something you don't have, it seems silly. But to those people that have that, it's debilitating sometimes,
and too, it's like that fear of in the toilet, it's like when you're in a past life and you get your butt bit, it's not all that much fun. But, let's go back to your dream. So take it, getting caught with your pants off on a big occasion, it means that you're afraid of not being able to perform in the moment that you need to perform. And then with being on the higher floor and out in the air, you're being very vulnerable. So it's like there's a part of you that's fearful or kind of hesitant about being that vulnerable. You can do it in your logical mind, but there's a part of you that's still going, and so that's that part of you that's working through it. And then so the wedding or the big occasion, it's setting up for this moment that you're going to be having. And and it's coming into, like for me, the first time I was on the radio, I had to ask, okay, is all parts of me in alignment with this? Are we all in alignment to perform, to be the way? And there was a part of me that went, hell no. And I said, well, too bad, we're in the car and we're going. So it's all or nothing, guys, because I know that there's all these different parts of me, inner child, teenager, whatever you want to call it, that it has these personalities that kind of hold us back, that are fearful because of maybe something happened in that age group. And so with that, Kevin, I think that it's just, you have been accomplishing so much and it happens so fast. And there's a part of you that probably is trying to catch up with yourself, because it's like sometimes we do something that we just keep going and we don't realize until after we've done it, oh crap, I did all that, and now you're having this other thing that's kind of huge, and it's amazing that you're going to be doing this. And so there's a part of you that's trying to catch up at the same time, trying to navigate with what's going to go forward. And you're finally catching up with, oh crap, I'm really here doing this, even though in logicalness, you can do it. It's just that reality of, oh, am I all being able to do this?
That's a really interesting point. We should talk about that for a little bit, because the three of us are here primarily because we're interested in helping mankind and helping humankind. But at the same time, I know that Regan, you would like to help more people by coming to work with you. And I know that Natasha would love to be able to have people work with her, and also to get in front of, by the way, your dream analysis was probably spot on, by the way.
Thank you.
And to do more and more. So we're all working for the same thing. So does either of you have a fear that suddenly, as an example, Regan,
Yeah.
you get a call from this publicist and it says, "Hi, I'm from the Oprah Winfrey Show, and we'd like to have you on to talk about your hypnotherapy and stuff." What would you crap your pants, or would you just be okay with that?
Oh, I'd be great with it. I'd love to do that. That's actually my goal. But this week I sent in my report from Kathleen, who was on the show a few weeks ago, because I did, the session I did for her, and I sent all the information we got about asking the guides on the other side about the COVID and everything, and sent that in. And during that process, she saw me there in her thing, and Michael Newton, who was there, got down off the council table, and he, I think I mentioned last week, he came over and I knelt down and he knighted me with a big sword, and for some reason, when she even told me that, I started crying like a baby. Like the week before, when I saw him on the other side, and I'd seen him, I never met him in this life, and when I saw him there, I just got all emotional, and so it's weird. I got an email back from someone on the board who was putting this whole thing together with us therapist trading sessions to ask about COVID on the other side, and she said, "Well, since Michael Newton knighted you, maybe you want to be on the board and have something to do either with promotion or with research." Hey, wow, and that's not that. But now, see, I'm getting even now. I started crying again. So, and I'm thinking, what do I have all this stuff for? So, I'm kind of getting that something's kind of telling me that even though my human self is saying, more work, I'd rather golf, I'd rather, my selfish self is saying that, but then there's something in me that's kind of, it's 3 times I got all emotional about something. So something's telling me something's there. So I just emailed her back and I said, okay, what's entailed in research and what's entailed in, I don't know how many, how much of my time that I have to give. So, but I think I'm going to do it, but I think that would be great. So, because my whole goal for this in writing my book, The 3 Hours, 33 Minutes in Heaven, was all about being able to do like what that be on shows like yours, Kevin, and do others, and to get the word out. Like I feel like I'm kind of meant to be more of a front man or the barker, outside, telling everybody, hey, there's this great process you could go through and visit heaven, and everybody can do it. Come on, And I think my years as a comedian and all those times I did stage time all over the world in corporate events, man, when I was on stage, that was the best feeling of my whole life is, doing, the comedy that I did and the fake motivational speaking that I did. And it was awesome,
Regan,
So,
I would love to go down with you that list a little bit, because as you go through life, everything that you do is built. It's like a building blocks, one step and one block in front of the other.
yeah,
And so that when your time is right, when it's appropriate for you, that you can then take that jump to the other place. And that's how you and I got together. It was by virtue of the booking agency, and and they had no idea who you were, and I love the fact that you were, because you see, you have to understand, not all of Michael Newton's people are interested in being on the radio and talking about this stuff.
yeah,
You are, and you're and I think that Natasha will agree with me, you're very well spoken, and you know exactly what you're talking about. And so it is time for you at the tender age of 55 or 45 or whatever you are.
yeah.
It's a time for you to fly, birdie, fly, and it's coming to pass. It's all coming to pass for you. That's great.
Yeah. So I think like we're all right here, Kevin, you, Natasha, and I were all kind of stepping up to a next level, of being able to help people, because like Natasha could just be, at home reading a book right now, but here she is giving her time, even though she's busy and everything, just to, put out to people who spirit leads to see this video. Who knows, could be 5 years in the future or something, and, to realize that, we're closer to the other side than we realize, and that we don't have to be in all this fear all the time, that there's relief from that. And Kevin, something that came to me about your dream too, because of the fact that you were in the wedding was in a high rise, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sometimes, it even could be a sign that your level of awareness, your level of consciousness has risen to a higher level, but when you're not quite comfortable there with it yet, in other words, you don't feel quite prepared. You're kind of vulnerable, but you're there in that room, and because the wedding means something important, could be like an initiation or just it's something very important, and so you're there, but you're a little uncomfortable because you're new to the room, and then you're trying to figure out how to, there. But sometimes I know with spiritual initiations, which people have, and they don't realize sometimes the dreams will be a teacher or a master there. They'll ask you, in a sense, are you ready for this next level? And then you either will say yes or no. You either run from it or you'll go, oh, I'm scared, but yeah, let's do it.
Well, I got
waking up from dreams and they go, wow, that was so weird. It's like, I think I just qualified for some kind of job or something. But I can see, yeah, we're all right. We're all this new level. So even though we're at a level now, I think us doing this work, one benefit is that we should, a natural thing from doing the show would be that each of us is raising us to another level on that high rise.
The one thing that I would like to do is based upon this show, and if you're listening to this show, I would love for you to come on so that we can display what Natasha is extraordinary at in the work that she does, which really it's hard. This is a hard forum for someone like you because your strength is working with people to help them deal with what's going on with them. And when we don't have a quote unquote guinea pig to do that,
that's okay. I'll use you too. Because Regan, with that part of you that wants to cry. Well, remember after we had our little meeting here, I had a little shindig with you too. And that's that part of you that is, remember that part of you, if I can say this, that part of you that was standing back. Well, that's that other part of you that's kind of saying, I want to be in alignment with coming out and being our truer selves. So that's that melding in the middle, like I was telling you about, that, it's that part of you that's coming, that's wanting to stay quiet, but now wants to have a voice. And that part of you that's always had a voice is able to come back and be more in alignment together.
And that fits too.
Yeah. And that's that soul calling. When our part of us that has I don't want to call it ego, but the performer part of us that knows how to do something, we're comfortable at work. We're comfortable at what we're doing. We're comfortable where we're at. And then there's this part of us that's that's uncomfortable doing certain things. Yeah. Like a mechanic knows how to work on a car, but do they know how to do taxes? So it's that part of us that can kind of come into an alignment and be in peace with no matter what we're doing, that it's okay if we don't know, and it's okay if we do know, but either way, we're in alignment with what we're supposed to be doing. And that's when our soul kind of goes, oh, I'm here, and it's that, even though it's not about doing more work, because if it's something that you want to do, it's not work.
Yeah, I'm glad you just said that.
Because it is about doing, there's always going to be, like, for me, I'm interacting with someone who wants me in their book. And he asked me to write an email about what he did in a past life. Well, I'm like going, can we just call each other? Because I can be there in a minute if I call, but putting it in an email, oh my gosh, that takes me, to speak it into the phone, then it takes me to proof it, then it takes me to proof it, then it takes me to proof it because of my dyslexia. And so for me, I can do what I'm doing, but then I have this hiccup, I'm going to call it, with writing something. And so weekend, and all week, last week, I know that this was my story that I was working through, that negative part of me. I don't want to call it negative, that part of me that's hindering. That's kind of like it's a little bit of it's that kid that you're kind of pulling behind you. I don't want to go, Mom. I don't want to go, Mom. And I'm saying, but we all of us have to go. And this is that part of me that's trying to get there, And so there's always going to be a part of us that struggles with something to be in alignment with it. But if we truly want to do it, we have to ask, okay, all my team that's with me in this lifetime, and we don't even have to know who our team is. I mean, but it's going to be angels, guides, inner selves, past lives, all these parts of us, fears. Are we in alignment to do this? And if it's that calling that you feel so right to do, you have to kind of see what it is. But I'm grateful, Regan, though, that you're checking in. What is the work that this is going to entail? What is the physical application of this? And when we can do that physical see what that physical application is, maybe we can say, this is a strength of mine, but that's definitely not. So is there a way I can work with the group here to see how to balance this out, type of thing? Yes, Kevin.
Okay. Thanks, Steve.
I'm used to, I do that. Kids raise their hand on Zoom,
Regan, having tried to deal with the Newton Institute and not having very much success, I've been trying literally for years to find someone like you. It took me to find you to find someone like you, because there isn't anyone else at the Newton Institute that is doing what needs to be done, in my humble opinion, which is promotion and marketing.
Yeah, I know they're doing someone's doing a documentary on it. I know, because on my website I posted a whole session. It's like a 2-hour session or an hour and 45 minutes of someone actually going through the process. And the gentleman that's doing it has been doing it right along with Michael Newton for years. Wonderful man, but I've never met him in person or anything. So, yeah, Natasha, thank you so much for that feedback. Because see, I think I have a little bit of fear mixed into it, a little bit of, if we're talking about fears, a little bit of laziness involved in there. And I'm realizing that any time that I've wanted anything, I've had to put work boots on. But once I get the work boots on and I start trudging forward in it, I get lost in it and I love it. Mm-hmm. I just said, and I thank God for getting me to put those work boots on. Just like, in my book that I wrote one time about my autobiography, on the back it says, kindness is love with work boots on. In other words, anything we do, it takes effort. It takes effort to learn to be kind. You think we'd be kind naturally. Some people probably are more than others, but we have to overcome this human selfish self. And I just learned to do it a little bit at a time, and it really adds up after a while, But again, it's these fears. So this was good. We had this talk today. Well,
it was popped in, so I'm just guessing that somebody around said this is what we need to talk about.
Let's even talk about this in relationship now, because that's usually the most important thing in our lives, is the person we're close to, our spouse or our kids or something. And when you think about it, to be a little bit better of a husband or wife, a lot of people go, oh, that's going to take work. Okay, what do you want? You got to put those work boots on. You have to start doing more kind things to your spouse. More. Oh, we had a blast. It was Patty's birthday last Saturday, and we went to Carmel for 2 nights. And she's, because she's such a money making machine. We went. It was like $350 a night. This one place we stayed in, but it had this. Oh man, it was so worth it. It was this huge room, most comfortable bed. Been in it a long time, and we had our own deck that was about 3 blocks from the ocean, but it was high enough, and we could hear. We'd leave both nights. We left the doors open because we could hear the ocean, and then we'd sit out on the patio and just watch. It was just wow. It was so cool, So and there I could feel that I was even a little bit sad in a way, not sad in a bad way, but I could feel another shift coming, like another change coming, where I'm going to have to let go of some old things. Oh, whew. And that talked about the dream that I had just last night too. I was playing in a casino and just before I had to leave, I hit this giant jackpot. I was like triple bar triple or something, and it was like $500, you know, but it was time for me to leave, so I just left it in the machine. Just figured, well, I'll just come back and start tomorrow, you know. So I went back the next day, and nobody could find that machine where I left the money. And man, I was not letting go of it. I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna, and then I realized I'm dreaming, but I still couldn't let go of that money that I'd won. They tried to give me this other machine, but it only had like 500 coins, and I knew I had way, way more than that. So because I knew it was some kind of lesson, I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? Why can't I let go of this? You know, like maybe I just lost it, so what? But I was just like I couldn't let go of that. So finally, I went back into the dream. I got the money, and I made myself go around to like the poor all over town, and everyone I'd give a coin to until I was empty, you know. And like, it was like, oh, this is so hard. I'm giving all my money away. So I could tell that there was something in me that's sometimes wants to hang on to things. And I think they're kind of telling me right now, come on, just loosen up, let go. It's not important. Give it to others instead of keeping it for yourself or something. So I kind of analyzed it while I was in the dream, you know. I think it has something to do. Maybe Natasha has something.
I have a thought.
What do you get, Kevin?
I'll let you go first.
I'll go first, and then you can tell them what's really going on.
That's okay.
Okay.
I'm not always right, but I have a truth.
Yeah.
Because see, here's the thing, my friend, is that you have been set up. You have been set up by the universe to do anything you choose to do of a spiritual nature that you choose to do it. And I say that because you've got the background. You've been on stage. You're a ventriloquist. You're a comedian. You are a motivational speaker, even if it was just a comedy routine. Yeah. And you also are married to a lovely lady who does very, very well and make sure that the bank account's covered, and which gives you the freedom. Freedom is a big word for me. It gives you the freedom to do what you are designed to do. Natasha, you go, girl.
Just a sec. I gotta get the sunlight. Wonderful. The wonderful, wonderful sunlight. Totally out of my. It's coming around the corner here. Yeah. So I think you're on the right track about that. That there's, for one, that you have made you got to where you wanted to go, but then you walked away. So there again is that I made my goal, but do I really want it?
I'm going to write that one down.
You know, it's that, you know, it's like going on to Oprah and then getting sick right before you go on. You know what I mean? It's that self-sabotaging that we all do when we get our goals and we all get what we want. There's that self-sabotage. Do I really want to do that? Yes, it would have been a whole lot easier for me just to be able to come home from work, cook dinner, and read a book, and then, you know, go to bed, you know. But that's not my calling. That's not my soul get up and go. That's not my soul, like, moment, you know, type of thing. And so with that, but then you realized when you went back, wait a minute, I really want it. So now when you have this moment, kind of like with you getting asked, you know, do you want to be on this board? The best thing you could have done was email them back and say, yes, yet. It's not a yes, but it's a yes, yet.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to do it, but yet I need some more information.
Yeah.
And so with that, you've actually walked through part of that dream that you already had because you said yes at the moment instead of walking out of the casino.
Yeah. Yeah. And then going back and then realizing I was already there, and it's a little harder now to get back to where I was.
Yes.
As I backtrack.
Exactly. And so like with Sue, with her dream, she had a dream about how that there was finding out that a celebrity dancer, Julian Huff died.
Really?
But in my dream,
with the Stars?
What's that?
Is she from Dancing with the Stars? Julianne Hough or something?
She was a long time movie star dancer. She's been around for a long time.
But in my dream, her name was Adrina.
Or Adriana.
Adriana, thank you. Names are always my weird but random. Well, I know, Sue, that you have been struggling through so much, and you've put it out here on my show, and did some work that with you struggling through some of your stuff, that you dancing, you wanting to dance. There's a part of you that wants to dance, that part of you that still wants to be free, just to be young again, to it's that kind of be like in a convertible, just having fun, listening to music. Just, it's that part of us that wants to be free, and that's usually what dancing's about, is that freedom to just swing and move. And with all that dancing, and yet at the same time, though, the person who passed away, look at the part of you that has died off, and see that part of you that has died off. Now, what part of you can be rebirthed into doing a new song and dance, a new breath of fresh air, a new grace of who you are? Because there's a part of you, like you were saying, that yes, Dancing from the Stars, young, and a young woman. So with that she was young, but there was a part of you that you maybe thought died off too early. There's parts of us that die every day, and endings with new beginnings. There's always a part of us that like for me, my arms kind of went wonky when I was young, in my early 20s, late teens. And so it didn't give me a chance to do certain things. And there was a part of me that they had to go through the grief process of not being able to do certain things, even though my young body knew it could, but I couldn't. And so there's that death process that I went through to rebirth into, oh, but now look at what I get to do. I may not be able to do that, but I can go over here and do this another way. And so finding a way to manage that and be freer, it's that finding joy again. Dancing, sometimes for certain people, it's about joy. And if you watch a real dancer, it's it's like me being on the show. It's that inner singing, that inner calling, that inner peace that we have. And it's just that moment where we just move where we can move, if that can help you out.
I was just looking at Julianne Huth's stuff. I don't think she died. I could be wrong, but I think she's still with us. And you're right. She was a Dancing with the Stars person in like 2007, 2008. But anyway, so it's
a resident. Many times in our dreams, it's not a real thing that happens. It's a representation.
Right.
It's a metaphor. It's an interaction with. It's an interaction with our subconscious. What does our subconscious really want us to do, or what is it something that we are trying not to sabotage ourselves with, or is there a part of us that has to be recognized, like you, Kevin, to move forward? It's that always something about that moving forward piece. And we're in this big jump that if we're fearful of jumping forward, it's going to sabotage a lot of people out there, I sense. And that's sad, because there's so many people that they really want it. At the same time, though, can they really produce it?
By the way, Susan yelled at me.
Yeah, in caps.
Dream. So, anyway, sorry,
Susan. Somebody listening right now?
Yeah, Susan. Yeah, Sue Snyder.
Is that one of your clients, Natasha?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She's been here before.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
come on. We should. Yeah, she should come on sometime. We'll just talk to her.
Yeah, she was on my show twice.
Yeah. Well, maybe Susan will chime in if she's had a dream that she wants to get some sort of interpretation, maybe from the three of us. Maybe we can help her figure out something.
Well, that was that dancing dream that I just talked about.
Yeah. Is that her dream?
Yes.
Oh.
If you go into the comments, not the private chat, but the comments, you'll see it.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that right there. Oh my gosh, Susan. Yeah.
I do that. I check that out. It's funny
Nice.
how me with technology, I have been given so much information to people about technology. Like me, who struggles with technology 99% of my life, is
Yeah.
now on the other side of that. I'm like
You
going,
know,
wow.
I'd like to call you out on that just a touch if I can, because when we first met, I was doing the podcast and I was doing it on Podbean, and I wasn't doing anything else. I wasn't doing any video. I wasn't doing anything, and because somebody got in my ear and would not let it go, I'm now doing video. And we're on a wonderful platform and all that because I kind of drug me along.
I did. Well, when I kind of get drug along by the angels who say, this is kind of you doing this hell or high water, and I'm like going, okay. And so, yeah, I kind of I didn't get my foot off the gas pedal pretty much all summer, Kevin, and oops.
I don't know how to do that. Well, you got to figure it out. Well, I don't know how to figure it out. Well, you got to. I'll look online and but you were dynamic and you were right.
Thank you.
Yeah. I got a little more information this week on the vaccines from people who've been to the other side and came back. And another viewpoint that they kind of say over there, they're saying, well, the vaccine was invented by humans for humans. And, if you think it'll do you some good, then maybe it'll do you some good. And if you don't do it. It's like an individual choice. But they wouldn't really say, no, this is bad or this is going to kill everybody or anything like that. It's just saying, well, you humans invented it for you guys. Just decide what you want to do. They didn't make a big deal about it. So that's what I needed to hear. So, because Patty just got her vaccine today, and her son is, who's a really well-known chef in the area. He is getting his, I think Patty's helping him get his today. They might even be out doing that now. So she said, Regan, when are you going to get yours done? And and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll get it done. So I'm going to have mine done on probably Thursday. So, if I'm on the show and I'm going next Monday and I'm going like this, and you'll know it's because of the shot.
I don't think
Yeah, see, that's the thing about, having fear around something. Like I know a lot of people go into fear with surgery. I know that a lot of people go into fear with getting shots, or they go into fear with having a job interview. And having that anxiety, I'm going to call it, around doing something can actually cause something not to work as well.
Yeah.
And, like for me going into the dentist, I don't necessarily like going into the dentist. But at the same time, though, I put on this persona of saying, I'll be safe. I'll be good. I'll know what to do. I'll be the better me. And every time that I've done that, then instead, because usually it takes like 5 shots if he's going to do a crown on me or something like that, because Novocaine doesn't really affect my body, and drugs don't go well together. And so with and so if I go into it more with that grace, then it takes more 3 shots than 5. So there's a difference between the body fighting something and working with it. And it's just but that's where we have to really, I loved how Martha Norwalk mentioned this about how she checked in with asking questions. If I had a $100,000 in front of me, would I do something? And she said, well, I kind of would. And she was talking about the shots. And I did that. And I said, hell no. Because I know my body says, no, this is not in alignment with me. There's something that tells me this won't. But I have so many allergens. I mean, I took 6 regular ibuprofen in one day at different interviews, and my stomach went into spasms for 3 days. So it's like I don't do well with anything coming in my body, and sometimes not even food. And so with that it's just one of those things that we just kind of have to do with what is right for us.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I don't get flu. I've had flu twice in my life. I don't get sick. I have this natural ability. And so if I take something, actually, it almost hinders me being
Yeah.
healthy.
Well, that's why I think they're saying, everybody's got to figure it out for themselves because everybody's different, So, and I don't know if it's fear or if I just don't want to go along with like a sheep, to the, just because everybody says and blah, 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 blah. And they're doing fast. And I did read something on Dr. McCullough's website, or no, it was something from his website that someone emailed me, another friend, and it was all this awful stuff about the vaccine this week. I guess he's the most out front there naturopath in the country right now. And so if you look him up, Dr. McCullough, you'll have people raving about him, and you have people that are traditional medicine people talk about he's just a quack, But that's been the natural, the doctors and the medicine side and the naturopath side ever since the early 1900s have been at war, And I did watch a video on how that all came to be. It's like when someone invented this chemical stuff, it was either Vanderbilt or one of the rich Rockefellers, or I'm not sure which one to get credit to, but they started funding schools for medicine because there's so much money to be made, and they refused to fund naturopathic schools. So everything was on the medicine. You got to do this because of the money thing. And these naturopathic schools, a lot of them went out of business, and because they couldn't get funding, So, right off the bat, that's got me, on the side of the naturopaths. But I'm taking right now, I went on and found out 5 things that are supposed to be good to keep the immune system up so that you don't get sick. And one of them was from some sort of mushroom, and there's vitamin C, vitamin D,
zinc and D.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that we have to find out, what is it about this? Is it about doing what everybody else is doing? Is it about doing what's better for me? And I find the more that I can ask a question and then ask, well, why is it so much that it bothers me to be doing what everybody else is doing? And then find out what that answer is, and then ask that question. Well, why is it that it's bothering me because of da da da, da, and keep going back, and you never know really what that
what the root is.
True, the root of the question or the root of that scenario feeling is, and many a times it's something that's like, why is that bothering me? And I agree with you that I don't like doing things that everybody else is doing, but I've been that way my whole life.
Yeah, well, I figure I had, tetanus shots, and I had shots for smallpox and all that when I was young, and so looks like we have somebody else there. Oh, zinc. Yes, zinc. I'm taking zinc too. Yeah,
yes.
I think you have to watch to not take too much of that, but they say zinc is really good.
So is that elderberry wine with zinc?
Elderberry, yep, with zinc is very good for your immune system. Yep.
Just don't drink
Veronica.
too much elderberry wine. That would be not probably.
Elderberry was. Oh, I didn't see the elderberry part. Okay, elderberry. Now, is that were you just being silly, Kevin? Elderberry wine? Or you just mean the root?
No, I'm being silly.
Okay.
It's the elderberry.
I heard of elderberry wine. Yeah.
But that's again is like even all these like holistic things out there. Like I walk the fine line between being very holistic and then at the same time, going to a medical doctor. It's like I've had both things that I've had to do. I've done the holistic side and I've done the medical side.
Yeah. And when I got sick, I got pumped with some drugs. I just figured, well, I'm here. I've been in the hospital. There's nothing much I could do. So I just went for it. And, but I think I got better because of it. So.
But sometimes the medical needs to take over what the holistic can't do because of where we're at. But yet at the same time, though, check in. Like I do muscle testing. I put my finger in like this, and then I try to do muscle testing. So what is my yes? And I try to pull my fingers apart, and then what is my no? And I ask, should I take elderberry? No would be my question. Should I take zinc? And yes, it's for zinc, so it's just one of those things that should I take zinc every day? No. So it's like, you can check in with what your body wants to do and
Yeah.
how to navigate it to its greater good. And sometimes doing this kind of gets it out of the mind. Your body
Yeah.
knows sometimes better than your mind does.
Yeah, we talked about that before. I have a little pendulum. I found it. I lost it for a while, but I found it the other day. That naturopaths have for testing things on you. Where the thing spins one way or the other way or whatever. But it's just in hypnotherapy school we called it idiometer. Oh gosh, I forget what we called it, but even in hypnosis, they had a way that it was a form of muscle testing, like, or the person would show when they're in their subconscious or something and doing something that would,
Have I told you guys yet the latest thing that I did? I did a muscle testing thing.
No.
This, because I do it a little differently than Natasha. I hold it like this, and if it holds, then it's a yes. If it breaks, it's a no.
Yeah.
And, so I decided. I thought to myself, well, where's this podcast going? How big is it going to get? I ended up that it was going to make $13.8 million.
Okay. Good.
Because it held firm at
until you got to
7 at 13.8. I couldn't keep it together.
Yeah.
So that was so.
But then there's a part of you that says you have it. Now it's making sure that the other parts of you, your inner child, your scared self, the part of you that wants to stay put and just, play your new video game that you bought not too long ago that you probably haven't played very much because you said that you had time then, but you don't have time now.
Not anymore.
It's that asking all those parts of you to say, okay, we all believe it, right? Yes, we all believe it. Let's go for it. And so with that, we just, we don't know exactly how we can do it sometimes, but we just got to keep asking questions. Who is afraid of going? And if we hear I am, then you know that there's a part of you that's saying, yes, I'm afraid. And you just got to move forward or, say, okay, let's move forward. Let's get in alignment with this because we're worthy of it. We're in alignment with it. Because that's the thing. A lot of people don't feel like they're worthy of that.
Hardly anybody does because
yeah. And it saddens me because we're all worthy of having what we deserve. Now, if we're millionaires and we decide to drive a 68 Ford pickup, who cares? We're worthy of being a millionaire with a 56, with an old Ford pickup. It's just one of those things that we never know how to be in alignment with it. We don't have to do what everybody else says. It's about doing what's right for us.
Great lesson to learn there is, and I don't know if you've heard this report, but a lot of people who win the lottery and win it big lose their money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they're not taking, they don't do everything that they need to do to take care of themselves and to make those changes. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you don't have it, if you aren't set up to do it correctly, then you're liable to lose it.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, if Patty was on here right now, she's studied all about that. She calls it it's a person's set point of happiness. In other words, it's what they have this point. And anytime they get anything that goes beyond that, they always go back to where their set point is, no matter, because they haven't changed their consciousness along with this other thing. So if they get all these millions, that somehow or another, they'll find themselves all the way back to, having the car outside that's on jack stands and whatever, if that's where their consciousness is, and I forget, but it was something that she studied and it had to do with business and wealth, why some people become wealthy and others don't when they have the same opportunities. And it's just that, unless if you get a chance to have more money, then you have to change your consciousness to be equal to that. Or otherwise, you're just going to rebound to the same spot you were before.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I find the same thing with people who were skinny and they decided that their bodies decided to be heavier, or heavier decided to be lighter. You
Yeah.
know, it's not, it's that seeing who we are in the moment that we're in it,
Yeah.
and being in alignment, being worthy of it, being accepting of, sometimes we have to accept where we're at and then move forward or move back or move sideways or move up or down. You know, it doesn't matter where we move within reason, but it's that accepting to say, okay, from here, I need to shift something in my life to do better.
Yeah. I guess,
And we don't do that enough. You know, that acceptance right this minute to move forward. Okay, this hurts. I don't like it. I'm mad. Okay, what can I do different now to move forward? You know, and then you do it. You know, it's that accepting just for a
well,
second.
the same thing. It's with we're talking about with money. That same scenario happens with every else thing in our life. Like if you're in a relationship and you screw up and you just decide to bail on the relationship, you go get another relationship. If you haven't changed anything in yourself, you're right back to where you started again. You're going to do it all over again. So, and what maybe we were saying over the last few weeks too, that you know, you can't change something with the same consciousness that created the problem in the first place.
Correct.
So I know with me, with the two marriages I had, that actually caused me to look at myself, and I did a lot of work. And then same thing with the second, you know, the marriage. And even though, you know, they didn't last apparently, or obviously, because of that, each relationship I went into, I knew I did work in between, counseling, boom, changed, did, you know, shadow work, men's work and everything. So that I progressed, so I didn't make the same mistakes again, you know. So we all gotta change.
You know, it's interesting that you. It's interesting, Regan, that you would bring that up, because we're both a little longer in the tooth. I no more want to have a relationship than fly to the moon and eat some green cheese. I'm just really am quite happy not having to deal with another human being, you know, within my space, because then it allows me more space to have relationships with other human beings.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're still getting it, whether you're married or if you're in a, you know, some people that are single, where they get all their learning from is interacting with their coworkers and things, you know, that bring up the same things they would have gotten in a marriage. So yeah. So some people are just meant to be single, but other times, sometimes it would get back to fear again, right? Natasha, it's like, I mean, it could be Kevin's just afraid because he knows if he gets in a relationship, someone's going to show him all of the dirt that, you know, they're going to mirror for him everything that he could maybe fix. And that maybe part of him doesn't want to do that. Or
Talking about.
maybe
Kevin, in this lifetime, he learned his lesson and he doesn't want to do it again. You know, he you know, it's like the checklist going through life when he came into it. Got married, had kids, needed to do what I needed to do. Check. I'm on to something else.
well, I used to tell people I was married 20 years the first time, 10 years the second time. So when people would say, "Were you getting married again?" I says, "Yeah, this time it's going to be for 5, then 2.5, and then I'm done." You know, keep having it.
I was married for 24 years, and it was the happiest 6 months of my life.
Yeah. So, but
we were good for about the first 15.
you know, I mean, it's rare that I think that a soul comes down here that's not going to interact with anybody. That would be a really rare thing. I mean, even in the afterlife, with all the people I have there, they can't wait to get back to their soul group, you know, to these souls that they love, these people that interact with them from different lifetimes and different things. And you have all kinds of relationships in heaven, in a sense, that are just magical and wonderful, you know. So although, you know, some of them come down without their soulmate just because they have to learn certain things on their own and not have a significant relationship in this life, or maybe some what we call sub soulmates, you know, other people that they really care about that they can learn some things from. But
I think that the souls that are coming down now, they've done that work already. You know, when the planet was left populated, you know, I know that there's probably some people who chose to do different work of quietness and
Yeah.
inner soul work and that kind of thing, where now I don't think that that's the journey of the soul. I think the journey of the soul is really, I'm witnessing a lot of people learning to clean up a lot of their things that they needed to clean up to move forward into this enlightenedness that we're going to be moving into. This, I don't want to call it the Aquarian age, because I think that's putting a different context on it than what it's really. It's that part of us that's calling. We're all calling in this. Let's just be love with each other. Let's be kind with each other. Let's have grace with each other. Let's have that unity of just belonging together that we're going to have, that it's going to take a moment to get there. And it's working through a lot of these things. What is this past life here to teach me? What are we supposed to be looking at? We haven't been this spiritual on a planet, except for back before really, the Christians came on this planet. You know what I mean? It's like, a lot of the Druids and we were spiritual then, and we're coming back to that moment in modern day form.
I'm going to have to play the host now, and because one of us has to leave, and I'm going to, Regan, get your information out. Then,
Okay.
young man, you're free to go.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be good to see my son again. Big story there too. Boy, I wish he was here today. He could really use a reading from Natasha big time. He's just lost his job because of COVID. And it's a job that he didn't really like anyway. So, but it was, technical. He was doing computer repair work for people online, and then he managed other people, other guys that were doing it all over the country. But he wants to do something to help, like he's thinking of getting with a nonprofit organization or something where he can actually be with people and do something like that. So I said, well, probably the good thing is that you lost your job, because you're probably going to find something, but it's a little scary right now,
You'll find something better.
Yeah, mention to him about looking into these organizations that maybe are helping kids with technology.
Oh, I will tell him that. Yeah,
grab that out of your left ear.
Yeah. See, that would be something, because then he'd be helping, and he has the knowledge and skill there. Very good, Natasha.
And that might be a door, get him through this doorway right now, because he's using something that he already knows, but then he's moving into something that's got a higher calling, and then he can maybe, as things shift and change, then he can kind of feel out where to go from there.
Yeah, he's always really thought that, he's doesn't belong here. He says, I'm from some other planet. He says, I don't belong here. And never really quite felt in, but boy, he's turned out really is just got a beautiful heart, beautiful soul. So it would be good to see him. Okay. So people can get a hold of me at visittheafterlife.com. Those people that are watching right now, if they've been to Visit the Afterlife, they may have seen the videos already, but there's some really cool stuff on there about seeing how we have these new techniques now where in a deep state of relaxation, which almost everyone can achieve, you can easily view past lives and then go from there to heaven and back. Ask questions, visit loved ones that have passed on. I mean, it's just so easy for the majority of people. And what it does is it removes a lot of fear, because you realize that you chose this life. You realize you chose the obstacles because you had to learn something. Mm-hmm. So instead of playing victim, you start to become like, okay, I got to get going here and see what I got to learn from these lessons and everything. So my book, 3 hours, 33 minutes in heaven, which is there, you can get through Amazon, a bunch of other bookstores. And it's just about my personal journey when I went there, spent over 3 hours in heaven and came back, and how life-changing it was for me. And if I could do it, anybody could do it. Because, I'm just a head case. I'm so much in my left brain. It was hard for me to let go. But when I finally did, it was amazing. So anyway, visit theafterlife.com. And there's a free book on there right now you can request about all the current research they're doing in reincarnation that kind of proves reincarnation. So that's free on there right now. Keeping it free for a while.
By the way, you forgot to mention that you're also an esteemed member of the board of the Newton Institute. You forgot.
Well, I may be. We'll see. They've asked me if I want to, maybe apply.
You're in the yet
So-
moment. You're in the yet moment.
Yeah.
You just
Insight that Natasha had today. So anybody listening there, Natasha has wonderful insight because she cleared up a couple of things for me today. So thanks, Natasha.
You're more than welcome. Blessings to you.
You both are helping mold me.
We'll bring it forward.
Yeah.
false evidence appearing real. So don't be
All right,
fearful.
I'm gonna go have a few days with my son, who I rarely get to see. So I'll tell you how it went next week.
Have a
Good.
great day.
All right.
Blessings.
You guys,
Bye.
see you later. And say bye, Susan and Veronica. Nice of them to chime in. We love having you listening. Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later. And that's he really is. Help me here because I don't understand. He has been working with the Newton Institute for many years. He's been doing hypnotherapy with people doing life between lives. It seems to me that joining the council and being a member of the group that could affect positive change would be something he would jump all over. Why isn't he?
Sometimes
is it fear, or is it
no, sometimes when we are in a crossroads, that, like, for me, if I got onto a board of spiritual work, would my spirit want that? It may not, because I feel like, for me, like, I've always seen myself being on something like TED Talks, which is this platform. This is a compromise, or it's on the same path as
Right.
TED Talks or something like that, where me being in meetings all the time, yes, would bring greater good to many, but yet at the same time, though, I feel like I've always had that calling to be the hand, reaching out a hand for someone to move from here to here. And with that if that's his calling, is to be on the board, then maybe that one might take him away from doing clients, which is more his soul calling. So he's checking in to see which path is more in alignment. Does him being on the board allow him still to do this part of him that is still calling into doing the work, individual or with groups? It's one of those things that he shines when he talks about his sessions.
Oh, I know, but on the other hand, see, that's the one hand. On the other hand, he has the ability.
Yeah, the ability doesn't always mean that it's the calling.
But he has the calling. Okay. but see, the thing is, I know that Regan wants to affect change in as many people as possible. He can do a much bigger job of affecting change from there than he can do working one person at a time. That's just my opinion. But then I'm all about multimedia, and I want to get as many people involved as possible and that kind of thing. So maybe it's just a little bit different there.
Well, and I think there's the yes and.
Right.
And so he's still in the finding out his information, is if he can do the yes and.
And he will. He'll be.
And so, it's that pretense of, I can't really say yes until I have all the information. And so he's wise about getting information instead of jumping in with 2 feet and then finding out, wait a minute, this is not really my calling. So it's always wise before we jump in to not necessarily say no, but say yes yet.
By the way, you just said that correctly. When you thought you misspoke, you spoke correctly when you said jumped in with both of my left feet. That was actually a really profound statement right there. So
thank you. But
so
it's that statement of yet. Sometimes I have to find out something because I can't make a decision yet. And that's part of this moving forward. After the spring equinox, I feel like it's like a horse race. It's like, let's get going. Let's get us in the gate and let's get us going, because I know that I have a quarter horse and a thoroughbred and a Mustang and, a mountain horse that can really do the work here to go the long haul, the short haul, and everything. It's just moving forward to getting into the gate to get there. And it's just becoming in alignment with it. And we're all in this moment where if the more information we can get, the better off we'll be.
No question. It's always good to have information, but it's always good to listen to the information that you're given, because a lot of times we don't.
We don't. We really don't. And that's the thing is that, I listen to so much. The animals that interact with me, the the songs I listen to the voices in my head that are positive. It's like, and a lot of us get told intuitively things, but they always listen to the negative voices, which are not our guides and our angels. It's the positive ones. Like Veronica was emailed me, and I apologize for not getting back to you. I kind of took Sunday as a selfish day for myself. That, with Veronica, she said that she had a bunch of swallows or sparrows. I got to check the email again. And that were in front of her. And she checked in. She Googled what that meant. And, that was the greatest gift she could have done for herself, because she was finding out the information for her to do the work that she needed to do, so that the message was for her. I can totally give it, but we're doing a class together about her finding, about her bringing up her intuitive gifts. And so for her to find out her own information, that's where doing the pendulum outside of us works. But muscle testing actually is finding the answer inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that doing intuitive work, yes, doing the work outside of us is just as good, but then there's going to be a time where we need to start trusting that inner voice.
Exactly. And when you say, when I say, and I told this to my sister, my mother, you, Regan, Veronica, and I've told a bunch of people that this podcast is going to generate $13.8 million, not 7, not 9, 13.8. And it's going to be I wouldn't say a huge hit, but it's going to be a big enough hit to where it's going to generate that kind of income. And the only way that will absolutely positively come true is if I believe it and say it and live it.
Exactly.
And do what's necessary to make sure that happens.
Yes. Was it Jim Carrey wrote himself a check for $1 million, put it in his pocket, and a year later he had a movie, and that was his salary.
Yep. He's one that I need to have on. I would love to have him on.
I do too. I think he's amazing. That's why I have my dream board, my vision board that I have that has me talking. It's all about me talking and money. And it's not necessarily money, but it's money from heaven. It's that road to wealth, and it's the saving money. It's the whole piece. And I have this vision board. I've had this vision board for 3 years now. And I can tell you that every time I've put it where I can see it regularly, you came into my life. I've had other things coming into my life. And I am one. I was thinking about this the other day. That I took an F in high school because I couldn't stand up and talk in front of people.
See, now that is really something spectacular that you have accomplished, because sometimes they can't get you to shut up. No, I'm kidding.
My husband's finding the same problem.
Okay, well, it isn't just me. But the fact of the matter, when you told me at one time that you were so shy, you had no friends growing up, and you were a single child, and that the first guy that even looked at you correctly, you married him because you didn't think anybody else would be there for you, and it was like, you look at you now and you look at how well spoken you are and how confident you are, and it's like, that's not the same person.
My husband said after my mom passed away, I'm not the same woman he married, because this is the flipping over the box. I took everything that I put in the box in my earlier life, depression, sadness, fear, all that. I flipped it over and looked at the things that were on the bottom of the box that didn't want to see, definitely, and I dealt with those first. So it was like, I dealt with the needing to rebirth myself. I dealt with the anger of being left out and being bullied and all those things that were in the bottom of the box, that just kind of, you just kind of keep covering over because you don't want to look at. And this is what it ended up being. A more happier person.
Well, and quite honestly, you're not done yet. You're about half baked. So
I am.
I
know. That's why I have like about 4 planets in the house of death and rebirth. So guess what my life journey is about? Endings with new beginnings.
Well, and very soon there's going to come a time when you're going to be able to command a little bit more. Even just to hang out and to do this for a period of time, somebody will find you. And somebody. So tell me about this book thing. What's that about?
I'm choosing to not that's all I'm going to say about it, because it has not come forth, and I am quite the opposite. The more I talk about it, the more it does come true. So if I just put it out there, then I'm in alignment with it, and that all pieces of the puzzle will come forth, that as I navigate through this and believe in myself, that it will come true. I have found that a lot of my work is more actions speak louder than words in my life, and so it's me following through with my actions will lead this to come forth.
Okay, well then I'll ignore it for the moment, but I'm going to incessantly bother you until you tell me.
Well, I will engage with that when the time comes.
Okay, now I know that Veronica's here and Susan is here, but this is from other people that don't know you yet. And how do they get a hold of you?
They can reach me at angelicclarifications.com. That is my website. And they can reach me at Natasha at angelicclarifications.com. That's my email. I do have time for sessions. I know it sounds like I'm a very busy woman. I actually do have time for sessions, and I actually block it out in my schedule. So as I move forward in life, I so enjoy helping someone engage with their life, getting them out of to oh. It's just one of those things that we all have those moments. You've actually seen me on these moments when I was on my own show on Wednesday, that we all have moments that take our legs out from underneath us, or that, like, I was helping another client who was interacting with some things that were going on in our house, and just getting a perspective that the angels and guides can give her was just amazing to see her go, oh, I got an idea how I can manage this now. Thank you. Instead of feeling like everything was just, on top of her and she just couldn't get a breath. And that is my wish and my want, is to just allow somebody to have a breath in their life, because we're all going somewhere, and there's a lot of inner callings that we all have, and it's just us being able to manage it.
Absolutely. That's Natasha Venter. This is my name is Kevin McDonald. This is my Independence Report. Please, now Veronica, if you and Susan have not subscribed to this channel, I'm going to fire you both. But I'm hoping you've done that. And for anybody else, if you please would do that, so that more people will be able to see this channel, that would be just awesome. So if you could do that, that would be great fun. Natasha, anything that you'd like to add before we go?
Just remember that no matter what you do, who you are, there is so much love for you from the universe beyond this human forms that you see in front of you every day. So just believe that as you walk, that you are loved. Just remember that spark that you have inside of you, because that is the dance of love.
And I'd like to thank Susan and Veronica. They both have subscribed. So now their job is to go out and get 10 other people.
Oh, you're so good, Kevin. Blessings to everyone.
Hey, you guys have a great day. And
thank you, girls.
We'll see you next time, ladies. And hold on just well, I can't see. I was supposed to have it down so that I could just go like this.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other, because each other's all we got. See you next time on My Independence Report.